Hi everyone, my name is Esther and thanks for coming back for lesson 2, Common Cybersecurity Threats. Let's get started. Cyber attacks come in many different forms, so it's helpful to know what they are so you can be better prepared to defend yourself against them. Oftentimes, scammers use a tactic called social engineering to lure victims into clicking on malicious links, downloading damaging files, or giving out confidential information. A definition of social engineering is the use of deception to manipulate individuals into divulging personal information that may be used for fraudulent purposes. Social engineering preys on the way people think and act, and cybercriminals utilize this tactic by exploiting those instinctive reactions and emotions through their scams. These are the general steps cybercriminals take to get their victims to succumb to social engineering. First, they gather information about you and or larger groups that you belong to, such as your family, friends, healthcare provider, or company. This information can be collected from places like social media or other various websites. Once the criminal has finished preparing for the attack, they pose as a legitimate source and establish a relationship with the victim, thus winning their trust and making them more accepting and open to communication. The attacker then uses that trust to trick the victim into sending them money, personal information, files, passwords, or more. When their goal is achieved, they end contact with the victim and remove themselves from the relationship. The time that this entire process takes varies widely from situation to situation. It may only span a time period of a few hours, or it can take up to several months, depending on various factors such as the willingness of the victim to give up what the attacker wants and the scale of the exploit. Generally, the attacker's main goal falls under one of two categories: sabotage and theft. If their goal is sabotage, they are looking to damage or destroy something on your device, whether that be data, files, software, or even parts of the device itself. On the other hand, an attacker with theft in mind is aiming to steal your passwords, personal information, or credit card numbers. To achieve these goals, cybercriminals often exploit two powerful weapons: heightened emotions and a strong sense of urgency. Cybercriminals like to target strong emotions such as curiosity, fear, greed, guilt, anger, and excitement, because our rationale is often compromised when we're experiencing these intense feelings. As a result, scammers tend to take advantage of natural disasters or health scares. For example, COVID-19, since people are more likely to react immediately out of fear, resentment, or grief during these times. I know when I'm angry or frustrated, it's easy for me to make rash decisions that I regret later. It is awful of cybercriminals to turn our own emotions against us, especially in times of need, but unfortunately they do, and it's up to us to avoid being victims of these scams. If you ever come across an email that calls for immediate action or causes you to feel a strong emotion, take a step back, do something else, and after some time has passed, ask another person for their opinion on the situation. Yes, it can be really hard in the moment, but it will serve you best in the long run. Phishing is one instance in which cybercriminals utilize social engineering. Phishing, with a PH, is defined as the fraudulent practice of sending emails claiming to be from reputable companies in order to induce individuals to reveal personal information, such as passwords and credit card numbers. These emails are often sent out to hundreds, even thousands of people at once, and they're designed to mimic a trusted source like the government, a bank, or a dependable company. Phishing emails can trick you into clicking on malicious links, downloading malware, and or giving up your money or personal information. Ooh, I got an email. Let me see what it says. Oh no, my grandma got into a bad car accident and she needs money for medical bills by tomorrow. Okay, I have about $500 in my savings account. Maybe I'll give my grandma that money. Phew, the transaction went through. I really hope my grandma's okay. Oh, I should give her a call to see if she's alright. Hi, Grandma. Are you okay? I just got your email about the... Shh. Slow down a bit. What are you talking about? You know, the car crash? Car crash? But I'm completely fine. Wait, then who sent me that email? It was from your account. Well, I didn't send it. Perhaps it was spam? Oh no. Unfortunately, this is not an uncommon occurrence. The FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center reported that $57 million were lost due to phishing in 2019. Phishing scams are involved in over 90% of successful breaches and hacks. Worldwide web fraud detection organizations estimate that over 150 million phishing emails are sent each day. Phishing is a serious problem, but it's also one you can avoid if you take the right precautions. I'll be talking about this a little bit more in Lesson 3. There are two other types of cybercrime that are very similar to phishing: phishing and spear phishing. Phishing is basically phishing over telephone. In other words, phishing uses one's voice to trick people into inadvertently making the dangerous mistake of revealing too much information. Phishers often use a fake caller ID. So even if your phone says a certain person or company is calling you, that may not be the case. Criminals can even use a voice modifier like this
or this
to further the deception. So be very careful when giving out sensitive information over the phone. Spear phishing is a targeted phishing attack. As I mentioned before, phishing emails are generally sent out to hundreds of people at once, but spear phishing emails are usually sent out to much smaller people. Scammers often have a very specific end goal in mind when spear phishing, and they try to reach this goal by specializing their attack. This lends itself to a higher chance of success. Their emails often look more authentic, and they appear more trustworthy. Malware is malicious software that can infect your computer or device through a file download from a dangerous website or through phishing or spear phishing. However, the majority of malware is distributed through email, 94% to be exact. There are many different types of malware out there, but today I'll be talking about viruses, spyware, ransomware, and scareware. A virus is a type of malware that replicates itself and spreads from device to device. When it infects its host, it can delete data, produce spam, or even gain control of your entire machine. Spyware is what it sounds like: malware that acts as a spy. Spyware can gather information about the user by tracking their keystrokes and anything else they do online, which can allow the criminal to gain access to passwords and other private data. Ransomware usually does one of two things. It either restricts access to the device itself or to data it contains, or it encrypts files and threatens to delete them. To restore the device and or data, the user would have to pay a ransom, but there is no guarantee that the attackers will hold up their end of the deal. Scareware takes advantage of the user's fear to coax them into downloading security software by pretending that there's already been a malware attack or a compromised account. If the user downloads that supposedly quick and free fix, their device is then infected by malware. Phishing, spear phishing, and malware are all becoming greater problems in society due to our increased dependence on technology and virtual communication, as well as the fact that scammers are constantly becoming smarter and more sophisticated. Luckily, now that you know a little bit more about some of the primary methods of cyber attack, you'll be better prepared to defend yourself against them. One last thing, remember if you or your devices are ever socially engineered, phished, infected by malware, or negatively affected by any of the other types of digital attacks I talked about in this video, it's not your fault. It's the scammers. Knowing this, don't be afraid to let others know about what happened, because in doing so, you could teach them a valuable lesson and possibly help to put an end to the criminals' inimical actions. Okay, that's it for today. I hope you learned something new from this video. And to test your newfound knowledge, please take this short quiz here. And thanks so much for watching. Bye!